this chart. I was charting it on. Let me just go to a normal gold chart. We'll use Oanda for now because it's not got on the perp chart. It's a bit weird, but obviously you can see structure's bullish, right? We just got news that Trump's tariffs are being they're not getting the green light right now, right? Um, Trump reciprocated and said he's got a plan, but as of right now, the tariffs that he planned, the Supreme Court ruling was that they weren't going to let it through, right? So this is bearish for the dollar and bullish for risk on assets. So gold, I'm expecting continuation here. The only thing is we potentially it moves so fast in the moment, right? I mean, the H1 candle closed up here. Like I'm hoping we see a small retrace down here again. That'd be like because like look, if we long from here and we have a target right of like that wick high, the RR isn't really there, right? Like even if you place stops below that wick, which by the way it could still sweep, it's only 1.39 R, right? So I'm hoping for a little move down here. I could have CMP longed, but I don't think anyone actually would have gone in. This wick was too quick. I had it like alerts for the sweep of this low here, but it moved too quickly, man. So let's see. I think there's a chance like we could get a little retrace, tap in. Um, there's also a chance like we don't get filled on this week, and like the so like next week that there might be like a gap down or gap up. We'll see, but if we do get filled, like I'd be because we're trading on this would be on perps, right? So our positions wouldn't get closed or anything like that. It's not like a like 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 a forex broker or like a prop firm where you most likely have to close your position for the weekend. So yeah. Also keep in mind if you're using Bybit, the values may be slightly different. So because like on Bybit, I don't see the XAU pair. There's XAUT, and it's slightly different, but like somewhat similar setup, right? As long as your stop loss is below those lows there. So on Bybit, it would be like 49, 49.65, something like that. Whereas on Binance, it's completely different. It's on Binance, it's like 49.84, right? So it's a little different, but same setups pretty much. So okay, I'll go to Bitcoin and this price action is so annoying because yeah, like it is a downtrend, but we broke structure here on the H4, right? And we've not even been able to sweep this high here. So I mean, bulls should be stepping up here, but they're not. And I was looking, so I've been looking for bearishness. Sorry, I'll be looking for bearishness around this high. Anywhere around this high, or if we close the H4 above this, I'm pretty sure I'll be looking. If I see any good opportunities for longs, I'll take them because then there'd be like reason to believe that like we'd go take out 71-ish, a bit higher. Um, Although if I zoom out a bit, right, we still have there's now one, two, there's two lows here, and we got some POIs lower. Um, we still haven't tagged we still haven't tagged like sub 65 from like mid Feb. So I think at some point we're gonna take that out, right? That's my target, and that would be I would long down here with stops most likely below this 786. I think similarly to November, we wouldn't just I don't think we would go and sweep that wick low in one. We might do something like maybe like chop around the 886, then go back up. Um, Obviously we'd get stopped out, right? But I would just relong if I see any structure break on the lower time frame. So I don't think we get any deep retraces down to here. Not on the first go. Like if we go back to November, I'll show you real quick. We like can you see how we made this low here and like every time we were in the discount range of this range, every time people were shorting heavily down at every single, you know, dump here, and we that was like fuel for hire. So similarly around here, I mean, same thing. We saw massive short orders coming in, right? They all got short squeezed. At some point, I do think these tags, and like the A plus setup for me, long in wise, would be like to get long around this area, or maybe I may do wider stops. I don't know yet, but something like this, and then we see like that move that we want towards 2025 low. Um, so yeah, like this range here has been, how do I call it? It's been clean, but like clean in the sense that it's been cleanish, right? It's clean in hindsight, but if we look on the H4, for example, like a lot of lows are being front ran here. Like this low, I was expecting to get tagged yesterday. We didn't tag it yet. So if I see this high getting swept and that's a H4 SFP, that's kind of my confirmation to go for a target there. If we're just still in a range and we don't go take out this, then yeah, like I said earlier, we could take out. I can see 71, and maybe if like the market's super bullish because of the Trump news we got, then yeah, like if I see any clean continuation setups, like if bulls start actually stepping up, then I guess we take this high and then we finally get that 2025 low. But I find it hard to believe we won't at least come down to take out this naked point of control, right? These are meant to act like magnets, but I guess we won't see that just yet. This recent news that we got was like it caught. I reckon it caught a lot of people off guard, a lot of shorts off guard. The fact that this was like um, very impulsive move. If I go on Kiyotaka, like OI went down here. If I'm not mistaken. So I think a lot of shorts got closed here, like they were forced to close. Um, and these are the type of candles like I do like to short, but this was too quick. This was like it it um it retraced too quick. It was like $800 candle up, and by the time I would have alerted it, it probably would have been like down here, right? So would have been shitty RR, but like those are quick scalps that if you're there active, right, you can probably catch it really nicely. So as far as that, like I'm not seeing any super clean setups. Um, I'd rather just sit on my hands for now. I think the setup on gold is like I wouldn't say S plus, but it is clean if we do get it. This structure wise, like I know this chart isn't as clean as the actual gold chart, but like for example, this is like the weekend price action, right? So this isn't we don't count that, right? But everything else, if we go on the daily, for example, I mean, it technically still hasn't broken daily structure. So, you know, I think with the amount of certainty that's in the market, it wouldn't be bad to try this long here, right? Um, yeah, as far as, oh yeah, Pippin, we haven't got any good retrace on Pippin, but I'm eyeing that right now for a potential short. So I ended up canceling this, like, price, it was like around here, and I was hoping to see a short squeeze yesterday to tag us into the entry, sweep that high. That would have been clean. And that was around via H as well. Um, but obviously it tagged the low before we got entry, so I gladly good thing I cancelled this because it would have stopped us out if we kept it. So if I'm being honest, it's not one like I probably won't be shorting anymore because I've noticed a lot like it's given strong reactions at the lows. This was a valid long to take, but I didn't feel comfortable at the time just because we had the POIs lower on Bitcoin. But in terms of like like retraces, like Bitcoin hit the 886 and this only just tapped the 786 yesterday. So this was pretty clean, I'm not gonna lie. Um, this Sol is definitely stronger than Bitcoin, I'd say for now. If we look at Sol Bitcoin, I mean, this chart's pretty bullish. Like daily structure, um, not daily structure, sorry, 4 hour structures has been bullish, right? Um, so Sol, it makes sense. Sol is outperforming Bitcoin right now. So instead of longing Bitcoin, like if Bitcoin does have a move towards 72, this probably has a nice ride up. So I'll be looking for longs on these on the lower time frame, like something like this. For example, say on the weekend we go take out this high. Hold on, this is a really ugly. Say on the weekend we go take out this. What? It's not the tool I clicked on. We go take out the high, right? Maybe we get like a little PO3 here. So I'll be looking to get long on any like lower time frame SFP. You know, target the highs there, the next highs that we have. Stops below obviously the wick that we create. I could see that playing out on Sol, and maybe I mean I'd say I'd probably take a good TP off like at around this high, these two highs here, and I'd be targeting. I'd leave a small runner for this high here, these equal highs. Um, April low is where I'd probably is where I'd probably be looking for shorts if I'm honest. I'll see if there's any. I probably won't leave a limit on, but I will look for any sort of like lower time frame bearishness. Um, but again, like in terms of like shorting, I don't know, man. Like I got burnt on a Sol short here, and Bitcoin was the one that I should have shorted because this actually ended up sweeping that high, whereas Bitcoin didn't. So I mean, this was the cleanest setup I saw as far as Sol, but it didn't fill us. So you know, the shitcoin is it shows strength when I don't want it to, and it shows weakness when I uh, when I don't want it to. So yeah, in terms of like discount or like what would you call it? Discount or premium. This is technically in the premium right now, but like I said earlier, if we get that move up on Bitcoin to, I'd say that 71 high here or 72, there's a high likelihood Sol would be like quite higher than the high that these two than compared to the high that Bitcoin puts in. So like relatively it is a lot stronger because here look Bitcoin put in a lower low here, sorry a lower high, and if you look at Sol, Sol put in a high here and then a high here. So do longs make sense just off based off 4 hour structure? Yes, right now it like 4 hour structure broke here on this high here. So yeah, I am interested in looking for, you know, continuation long on this, but I'm going to be cautious because I know that there are like really clean targets, really clean setup here on Bitcoin lower. Like I could see, I would not be surprised, and you shouldn't be surprised either if you see this eventually gets swept out into this like macro GP, sweeping that MPOC, and then you know I would that's a long that I would just blindly leave a limit in for because I'd like to see like a quick reaction. If we just like come down here and just like no reaction, I'd be very surprised, very surprised. And from there, like I would be looking for, say we do come to this low, I'd be looking, okay, will we sweep this value area low here, or sorry that wick there, the same area, right? If we break structure, like say that was the lower high, and then we ended up breaking structure here, I would probably look for longs. So yeah, that's kind of my bias right now. Is I think we're still range bound, but I'd love for this range low here to get taken on 60, like around 65k. Hype is the one that also is looking very strong. Now, I didn't get the setup I was looking for on Hype, which was a sweep of this wick into the macro GP. But I also said, like, we could see a scenario where we don't get that sweep and we get the close above. And that's what's happening right now, is we got the close at like the H4 MSB. So you could argue like now is the time to start looking for long triggers. I haven't seen any though, right? So going off just structure, this was technically here, H1 MSB, but obviously H1 MSBs hold less weight than H4, right? Um, so even though we closed below this low here, H4 structure was still intact. So for me, like I'm looking for something clean, man, something simple, like something like this. Maybe same exact setup with Soul that I mentioned earlier, where we would like sweep a low here, reclaim, and then go higher, right? Something like that is like the cleanest setups. I'll try to find an example. Um, so let me see here. I mean, here you could argue this was still H4 structure, but I mean, let me go on the H4 here. Yeah, so something like this. So we put in this low, right? This was still this whole impulsive move up. Like I'd say the low when you have like massive impulsive moves up like this, your invalidation is pretty far away, which is like that wick low here, because that was like the last retrace we had before that massive move up. So when we retrace down here, this was still all bullish structure, even though we were making lower highs here. So lower time frame, right? You would have said, okay, well, on the H1 we swept that wick, closed above, and you could have been looking for reasons to long, right? Maybe your trigger would have been like, okay, H1 sweep here, H1 MSB, which would have been like this high here. We closed above it. Okay, pull a fib from wherever it tops out, and like you enter on like the retrace with like your stops should be. I mean, for me, I would always put my stops below, like usually not always, but sometimes below 786. But if I want to be safe, below the 886. That's sort of like the last like do or die level, and then just a simple setup like this. Um, Now these setups don't show up every day. I wish they did, but something like that would be what I would be looking for on So and Hype, because they do look you know more they do look more like ripe for a pump than Bitcoin does. If I'm being honest, if we look at Bitcoin dominance, I'm pretty sure we'd see I'm pretty sure we'd see like some sort of H4. Yeah, I mean it's kind of been trending down, right? So could there be capital flowing into alts like already, even though we're still in a bear market? For sure. Like we could see, bear market rallies exist. I posted like my big short idea. I just don't remember which chart it was. Yeah, I think it was this. So listen, like I'm not saying we're gonna go to 83, but a move up into here, I'd 100% would be looking for short somewhere in here. Like I'd be pretty confident um, anywhere between like 79 to like 83. We could even go as high as 90k. Like if we're looking at daily structure, I would say this high here, this wick high, caused that down move. So like if you're looking for swing positions, like the RR is here, in my opinion, for a move down to the this low here, the 2024. I don't think it's 2024 low, but I label it as yen carry trade low. So I'm like 90. I'm like 70% sure. Or listen, like I'm biased because I don't have any swing shorts running, so I'd like to see this high, like this weekly FEG here get tapped. Um, like it would be kind of shitty for it for prices to roll over again and tap at this level here because well that would just be like you know like a very short bear market compared to it'd be like an accelerated bear market, whereas like I'd be looking for something like wouldn't it be clean to like ride some longs up on like maybe like we get like a daily breaker structure or something, no sorry, like a H12 or H4 breaker structure, ride some longs up in this like I don't know, maybe we get like a couple weeks of up only and then like look for a big short up here instead of like second guessing down here and being like is the bottom in, is the top in, like no, I'd rather we range here for a bit, which we are doing right now, but it hasn't been the cleanest range. We still need these, I want this low taken out, but that will be clean. Once we taken out we can look for longs, target higher. I'd say 71 would be my target if I get long down here. And then I would, if we do catch a banger like that, I would probably leave a runner for 79. And yeah, like we have two options here. You either leave a limit in and you know kind of hope you see like a reaction around here, or you wait for like a H4 breaker structure, or like a like a short trigger, like a SFP on the daily or something like that, right? So I think that would be closer towards. I could see that happening like towards the end of March, April time, and then we get lower around like May. I expect to see quite low targets around May, just before that idiot that Trump, that he's gonna put in that substitute for Jerome Powell. So I mean, time wise, that would be very clean. I'd say the majority of CT right now is bearish. So sentiment wise, that would also be lining up with this thesis where like everyone thinks we're about to go to 40K, 50K, and then we get this move up. A lot of people get offsided. They're like, oh shit, it's the bottom end. Should I? And then everyone's gonna FOMO into spot positions, right? I expect to see odds will probably put in a decent move if we do get that pump up. And yeah, like a lot of people would be FOMOing, but again, like I think that would just be generational short entry up here. On a setup like this, I would most likely risk 2R, so instead of 1R. Um, but yeah, I've also started incorporating something new into my system, which is anchored VWAPs. It's something Oase uses, and I decided to give it a try, and I really like it. It's a way to gauge trend, and so basically, I'll explain it quickly. So in a normal VWAP, you a normal VWAP, right? So it's whatever time frame. For example, a daily VWAP. That specific daily VWAP would be started from 12 p.m. UTC. If you're looking at a weekly VWAP, that'd be starting from a Monday. You know, so whereas the anchored VWAP, you choose the point it starts from. So I'll show you quickly. I'll delete this for a second. So if I go on the weekly time frame here, so anchored VWAP lets me choose my point of where I wanted to start. So say from the Pico top we had this cycle, um, it would be right now that anchored VWAP is at 91. So hold on, I've changed the setting here. Uh, yeah, there we go. So yeah, that VWAP is now. So you can see like it doesn't it isn't like an entry signal. It's just for a way to gauge how strong the trend is. So you can see here like we kind of went sideways between November to January, and we dug in a little bit right into not exactly the middle of the anchored VWAP, but close enough, and that's like a nice way to gauge whether you know it's a nice visceral representation to see like okay, uh, are we are we in like a bullish market still or bearish? Here short term it was bearish. I mean sorry bullish, but it was heading into bearish POIs. So same thing same thing here right? Like I'm expecting like this to obviously go down within a couple weeks. If we get anywhere near this like later on like say like for example end of March, start of April, then I would actually that'd be such a clean setup, man. Like I would not miss the short, even if it means that I'm putting like I'm having like a 7K stop loss. I don't really care, right? I'd be risking 2R on like a this would be obviously a swing move, right? Yeah, like I don't really care if I'm doing 7K or 5K, whatever stop loss I use, as long as like I get like a not a perfect entry at the top, but just like think of it as like an inverse spot position, right? So if I was in if you were in like spot position right now, like you'd obviously want to be hedged in some sort of way for if the market obviously does see more downside, which I think it will eventually. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Yeah, the anchored VWAP is pretty clean. Not only hold on, let me switch back to my lower time frame chart. It's pretty clean, like a low time frame as well. So here I've put it from that high that we had at 72, and like you can see, like I mean, it respects it sometimes pretty well, not like perfectly. So for example, today it respected very well, but I would never just blindly short these levels. Like I would use it as a confidence tool on the lower time frame. Like yeah, you could have shorted every time it like came close, but I mean, what about back here? It was just kind of chopping around here. So it's not like a signal, like it's not an entry for a signal. More so, if you're looking to short around an area and the trend is like bearish, it can be a nice confidence tool to have in your system over just the typical daily VWAPs, which are like automatically calculated from whatever time frame you're using. For example, daily, then obviously calculate from the start of the day. So yeah, I'll be using this more often now. I can see why OS uses it. It's a very clean tool. Um, Also, if we pull it, we can also have the option to pull it from like the low made at like 59K, and you can see right. Wait, let me make this. Yeah, so it's the blue line, right? So also been respecting pretty well. So like my setup next would be like look for bearishness up here, and that could possibly be a like a deviation setup. However, if we don't see any H4 SFPs here, I probably won't short this. Like, why would I? We most likely head into that 71 level. So, yeah. Um, I think April, in my opinion, will be so much better for setups. Um, Regarding Bitcoin wise, right? Like, some alts have had pretty clean setups from what I've seen. Um, do you guys want me to look at any alts? Let me know. Let me know in the chat if you want me to look at any. Also, let's Malik and Sash. I don't know if either of you use MaxC, but I mean, I'm sure you saw what happened, right? I wouldn't even on a trusted central exchange like Binance or Bybit. I wouldn't keep more than 10%. There's no need to, right? These exchanges have 150x leverage. Um, I don't see a point. Like, especially on an exchange that has 500x, you don't really need to have all the margin on there. That's wild, man. Like, I hope he um, I hope he gets his money. For now, not super interested in odds. I'm focusing on prop now. Yeah, yeah. Odds are. I mean, Jesus. Some odds are good to trade when Bitcoin's doing fuck all, and then but then obviously you don't want to completely divert your attention off Bitcoin because I'm telling you, man, like Bitcoin's pretty boring right now, but very soon I've got a feeling a violent move will come, and I don't think that violent move will be to the downside. I think the people who are most going to get caught off guard are late shorters who enter the market. Like I'm talking, start of February. You know, I was on Key Attacker. I don't know if you guys know what that is. I was on Key Attacker and like basically every day, like I saw the most retarded uh, orders flying in, and they weren't getting punished. They were bottom blasting, shorting, 10, 15, 20 million of Bitcoin in size, and they weren't getting punished. So this massive move up here, I'd say half of this was Binance buying, right, with their fund. The other half was people getting like absolutely obliterated on their shorts. So, you know, if we have another move up, there's going to be a lot of short liquidations, is what I'm thinking. Um, ETH is dead only for shorts. End of news. My husband pump. Yeah, yeah. I reckon people who. So if we look closely here, um, I reckon this bounce here was people taking profits off longs, right? Sorry, off shorts. I think people shorted here, and that was like a technical bounce. Um, Whether we continue here or not, I don't know yet. But we are heading into like a liquid weekend, so I don't expect the cleanest price action, but we'll see. Like, I mean, the fact that we got that news at the end of the day on a Friday, it kind of has me. I don't know. I've had this feeling this whole week that Trump's gonna do something or say something once markets close. Sorry, like traditional markets, right? Because let's just say he has some really bad news to say. He's probably gonna say it on a weekend when markets are closed. So, to minimize, versus him saying it on a weekday and like the markets crash. He doesn't want that, right? So, yeah, Coinbase trying to pump. Yeah, I mean they're trying. I saw earlier some guy Garrett Bullish, I think his name is, something like that. He was like depositing more Bitcoin, like thousands of Bitcoin onto Binance. So he's got he's got quite a lot of Bitcoin and quite a lot of Ethereum, and I'm pretty sure he's selling. Pepe, yeah, I can trade Pepe. Yeah, I mean, Jesus. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I can just tell, man. Like this is not spot. This is not spot buying. This is perps. I can just tell by the price section. Look at this. It just yeah, this looks like shit. Okay, so Pepe, even I don't even like to trade ETH nowadays. Like, let alone Pepe. But if I was to short, like this is a interesting area. I mean, this could end up. Let me see. I'm trying to find like a clean setup. I mean, H1 close is bullish, but like I wouldn't really rely on H1 close on this. Like, look, like you can see, like people are trying to save it here. You know, they're trying to save the H1 close. Um, what's your entry? If you're like near the top of the wick, near the end of the top of the wick, I think you're fine. But like, you're targeting 3-8, 3-8, 3-8. Oh, oh, where's your stop loss? Yeah, that's a pretty big move. I mean, it's not a surprise this whole thing got retraced. Um, man, this is just such a scam move. Was in from early and added a bit on the wick. Yeah, I don't, I don't see the. Wait. Let me go on the daily. Like, where is this? I want to reset this actually. Yeah, so this isn't hasn't even taken out 10-10 wick. So like, yeah, I mean, that would be a sick target. But at the same time, hmm, hold on a minute. Okay, so if we're talking about just H4 structure, technically it is still bullish, and technically we just SFP that low, right? Um, but obviously you're not like you're not you might have slightly different confluences to me. Let me turn on this. Okay, SFP Monday low. That's good. Where are your stops are above the wick, right? Yeah, like this could be like a clean, like we lost that pretty quick. I'm assuming we reclaimed on the 5 minute, lost it pretty quickly, retested it as well. Yeah, lower time frame. This is a clean setup, but just keep in mind it's technically still H4 bullish. I mean, well, until it isn't, right? Also take my stop loss at the wick. Your stop loss is at the top of the wick, right? That's what you mean? Yeah, I think you're safe, Sash, for now. I mean, if Bitcoin was to just retrace from here, not sweep that that previous day high I was looking at, then this should print. Let's see. I'm actually gonna do something. Where is the anchored VWAP? Let's test this out. Okay, doesn't work as well. I mean, eh. I mean, it's within the vicinity. Wait, let me put it like this way. I mean, in terms of like a retrace, like not even one tap on of the anchored VWAP. It has been a pretty brutal downtrend. So yeah, like it makes sense, I guess. So why usually I'm usually looking for sweeps, but like if a downtrend is super aggressive, you highs are pretty most likely to stay protected. So I understand what you're showing, Sash. Like technically, it's still aggressively downtrending. Only risking small. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm doing an FTML right now, so I'll probably after I pass or fail, I'll probably get size prop. On the FTML, I've been training this. I've been training GBP USD. Heard something about Bitfundit. I think you asked me, but I genuinely have no idea who those guys are. What are the? You can send me their Twitter later, but I have no idea who those guys are, to be honest. that Discord is not open for people to chat. That's weird. I think the way to verify a prop from is either look at the reviews on Trustpilot or see if anyone's posting payouts in the Discord. And if you've got neither, then that's how can be sure people gets paid. Yeah, I mean that's the hard thing about like I understand like at the start when people are launching prop firms, it is hard because you need a reputation. But I mean, the only way you can build a good reputation is by actually people purchasing the product and then you paying them out. So like for newer prop firms, like they're in, the business wise, they're incentivized to actually pay the traders. These prop firms who deny the traders, I mean, Jesus, I don't know, man. It's all fucked. They offer buy one get one free. Yeah, like what the BOGO payouts, buy one get one free. No, that's I don't know. It's a good deal, but isn't it buy one get one free once you've passed, right? So it's not like say you get an account and then you breach that account, they won't give you another one for free. You have to pass that account, and then they'll give you another account. But it's just another evaluation to pass. Yeah, that's how usually those deals are framed because most people fail prop firms, so I don't think they'd be giving out. Hold on, let me mute Telegram. Okay. Yeah, usually they won't give everyone um, access to another one straight after they've breached. Um, yeah, so I'll be watching Hype for now. It technically has broken structure, like it has broken structure, right? But I'm not seeing any clean triggers here. H1 and close under, so this was like a misleading close. I'll see how it looks like closer to Monday. So, but something like this, what I mentioned earlier, I'll probably look for that. I think if we just go sideways for the weekend, that'd be potentially could provide a decent setup. We've taken out this high. I mean, people are selling into it, right? So, I guess the people who are long down here are probably closing their positions around here. So yeah, maybe like refund. Yeah, some platforms do the refund thing. FTMO do it, but they don't do it for the step one accounts. They only do it for step two. But I mean, it's cool because you like once you pass, you get your money back. So yeah, what other odds do you want me to look at? Maybe BNB. BNB is also, I mean, it was pretty weak. I wanted earlier in the week 639. I remember I posted that in the chat, but it didn't give. On Hyro, you get refund on first cash out. Hyro Trader. I honestly, I don't know much about Hyro, um, other than like, we have a couple traders who are partnered with them. I'm sure they're good. I just actually can't remember. Like, I remember ages ago checking their rules, but I completely forgot everything. Um, but yeah, so anyway, we got a bit of topic here. One alt that I'll be looking at, right, is lit because listen, H4 structure wise, it's bearish ever since we lost that low here. Um, but instead of me like FOMOing in around here, like I'd rather look for an entry down here. And even if we do take a loss, if it does go straight back to the low, um, I'd love to see where lit is at when Bitcoin goes to 65. You know, I'll be looking for triggers. Technically, we can see one right now, which is you see that both lows got taken right. That was an eternal low. This one was as well, but this was the first initial low from the that caused the bounce, right? That just got swept. So could you long here? 100% you can. Hold on. I want to see how deep this retrace has been. Okay. Okay. It hasn't tapped 786 yet, but that's not necessarily. I mean, if this is truly bullish, it doesn't have to. I just don't know where I would place my inval. I guess. I mean, the thing is, 786 could be potentially too tight. Um, but also I don't want to put my inval like down here. Honestly, I would rather. It is a valid setup. So for H4, I'd say for an H4 structure break, I would say closing the H4 above this candle. But by the time that's already happened, this would have been already up like 35%, somewhere around there, right? So we technically could wait for that and then look for long, rather than like potentially long in this would just probably like give maybe a dead cat, then just give a new low. Um, Although I'd be much more confident in, say, Bitcoin goes to 65. I see this around here, maybe the 786, or somewhere between the 786 to 886, and then look for like a long trigger around here instead of like, for example, long in Bitcoin or anything. I could just long lit and seeing this outperform, because I mean there were on this move up here, I would have argued lit looked a lot more interesting than Bitcoin did. So we'll see. There are some potential clean setups forming here. So yeah. Um, I want to end the stream here. I think someone's streaming after me. I can't remember who. I think it's I can't remember. It might be Mura. It might be Mura. Or was it Wave? I don't know. Everyone else always changes their time, so I forget who's streaming after me. Anyways, guys, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed. And yeah, hopefully we catch some better stuff next week. Let's see. Yeah, man, no problem. If I see anything clean, I'll post it in the channel. Peace out, guys. Yes, sir.